Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is perfectly bouncing from this crucial level of support as the price is now starting to play out a new oversold signal in the immediate short term, but we still cannot ignore these major points of resistance along the way towards the upside. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment, alongside Ethereum also repeating history, perfectly playing out a short-term oversold signal right now, while the price of Chainlink is now forming, getting close to confirming a new bullish divergence on this chart right here. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just before taking a look at the Bitcoin and crypto charts today, giving you a really quick update on traditional markets. This right here is the S&P 500 index on the 1 hour time frame, and I'm recording this just a couple of minutes before the stock market actually opens. Right now it's in the pre-trading as of recording this video, and it's looking like it's going to open above the previous trading day close, above yesterday's close. And so in other words, after that volatility that we saw over the last one day, just yesterday, obviously with the market opening down and then having a bit of a rebound and then having another little rejection, a lot of volatility just yesterday, helping to cause that pullback in Bitcoin and crypto. After all of that's happened, we're now starting to see a little bit more of a short-term recovery in the stock market, starting to basically recover some of those previous losses in the short term. And so just keep this in mind. Obviously, with the stock market recovering a little bit in the short term, this can help with a bit of a short-term recovery in the crypto market. So keep that in mind throughout this video. And if we're taking a look at the weekly Bitcoin price chart, technically speaking, the super trend indicator on this time frame is still sitting in the red, indicating a larger bearish movement. And of course, on this weekly Bitcoin price chart, we still have this massive bearish divergence to watch out for, which is technically still active. We've not yet confirmed a proper invalidation signal to actually invalidate this larger bearish divergence. And so overall, when we're talking about the bigger picture, the larger time frames, do continue to expect a decent amount of weakness, lacking bullish momentum. Of course, we can see short-term bullish moves on smaller time frames, but overall, of course, the larger situation here is still looking more bearish than bullish, at least for now. And obviously, I've been saying that every day since almost all-time highs over a month ago. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, what is now happening right now as of recording this video is, of course, a short-term bounce following the stock market bouncing in the short term once again. But we're bouncing from this level of support. We never confirmed a confirmed candle close below this level of support at approximately 85,000. So at least for now, we still have a lot of support at give or take 85,000. And so for now, the price of Bitcoin is currently within a bit of a sideways price range. We're bouncing from this support at give or take 85,000. And we've also obviously seen this major rejection just over the last few days from this area of resistance. So of course, if the price ultimately continues this bounce, expect a lot of resistance in between around 92,000 to 94,000, which is an area that I've been warning about since actually before we perfectly rejected from that area. And so for now, that is the current situation, bouncing around in a bit of a sideways price range between important support and important resistance. But if we're zooming out to this 3-day time frame, technically speaking, we can still continue to play out this oversold signal in the 3-day Bitcoin RSI, because this is not just a daily time frame where it might play out for maybe a week, which did end up happening with that bounce and that short-term bullish relief for close to a week. But once again, this is looking at the 3-day time frame, and the last couple of times we saw an oversold signal confirm on the 3-day Bitcoin RSI, we played out over multiple weeks worth of either choppy sideways price action or a bit more of a bullish relief. And so far, if we're looking at the current price action in the shorter term, we're currently seeing a bit of choppy sideways price action. Obviously, we started off with that initial bounce, the initial short-term bullish relief, and then of course that rejection. But so far, we're not breaking below the previous low. We're holding on to this support at give or take 85,000, and so far causing a little bit more choppy sideways price action, basically consolidating a little bit within a sideways price range, which is potentially still this oversold signal on the 3-day time frame continuing to play out. And so keep this in mind as a signal to watch out for in the next 1 or 2 weeks. And if we're taking a look at the 6-hour Bitcoin price chart, looking at the much shorter term movements, obviously right now and over the last 1 day, we hit oversold in the 6-hour Bitcoin RSI, as I actually mentioned in my last last video here on the channel. And so like I said yesterday, this is a signal telling us that we're basically at some sort of, or getting very close to some sort of local low in the price, not necessarily the bottom. An oversold signal obviously does not confirm that we've hit the bottom and we can never go lower. But what an oversold signal does mean is that we're most likely at some sort of local low, which means over the next few hours or day or two, we could see either a short-term bounce or a bit of choppy sideways price action, basically helping to reset the RSI out of oversold because we went too far to the downside too quickly and we need a little bit of time to reset. And that's exactly what is now happening, obviously playing out the short-term oversold signal immediately in the immediate short term, considering this is on the 6-hour time frame. But obviously considering this is just a short-term signal, we've already reset pretty quickly here. So I'd not necessarily rely on this over many days or weeks. Once again, this is just a short-term signal, but remember we have that larger signal in the 3-day time frame playing out, which could play out over maybe another 1 or 2 weeks. But I want to make this clear once again, an oversold signal does not guarantee a lot of bullish momentum. It does not guarantee a reversal out of a bearish trend. It just means expect either a larger sideways consolidation or a little bit more of a bullish relief. And considering this is on the 3-day time frame, once again, that could continue to play out in the coming days or the next 1 or 2 weeks potentially. And so far, of course, that has been playing out in the form of this sideways price range between support and resistance. So those are still the levels to watch out for. But if the price of Bitcoin, of course, breaks out above this area of resistance, in that situation, if we break out above 92 to 94,000, which is the immediate price target to pay attention to right now, the immediate resistance to watch out for. But if we break out above 94,000 with candle closes above that level and actually hold above that level, in that situation, the next target would be sitting in between 99,000 to 100,000. That's the next area of resistance, and above 100,000 would be sitting at around 106 to 107,000 as another major target. But remember, the immediate obstacle, the immediate strong resistance to pay attention to is still in between 92 to 94,000. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, we can still see a lot of liquidity building above the price of Bitcoin in between roughly 93,000 to 95,000, especially around 93 to 94,000. We have a lot of liquidity continuing to build right there, as I've already mentioned over the last few days. And usually, not always, but usually the price of Bitcoin tends to move towards where we have a lot of liquidity. But also keep in mind that just over the last 24 hours, we've now started to build a little bit of liquidity below the price of Bitcoin at just above 83,000, in between 83,000 to 83.5k as another area on the price chart to pay attention to. And so obviously this suggests that the price is likely going to remain within this sideways price range for the time being, potentially at some stage taking out both of these levels of liquidity. But considering right now the majority of the liquidity is actually sitting above the price, it is slightly more likely that we'll go towards the upside to take out that area rather than towards the downside, at least based on this chart alone. And so how can we use all of this information in a trading strategy to actually profit from these Bitcoin moves? And well, first of all, of course, a simple trading strategy would be to, let's just say, not financial advice, but open a long position at support or open a short position at resistance. That's a very basic trading strategy. Obviously, if you're buying or longing at support at give or take 85,000, then taking profits closer towards resistance, or if you're shorting from this resistance, then taking profits at the next support. That's a simple yet effective trading strategy. Or if you're more of a breakout trader, you can simply just wait right now, wait for the next trading opportunity, and then the moment we break either support or resistance, you can take the next trade as soon as that break confirms. So for example, if we confirm a breakout above 94,000 with confirmations, a candle closes above that level and holding above that level, that could be a potential signal to open a long position to trade towards the next target, the next resistance. Or vice versa, if we obviously confirm a break below this support and fail to get back above that support, and then in that situation, we could open a short position to trade towards the next level of support further towards the downside. And so in other words, you can have multiple trading strategies and multiple plans set out ready to go. So the moment one signal confirms, you could then implement the plan that you had in place for that particular scenario that's starting to play out. Or of course, if you think we're going to continue remaining in this sideways price range for the time being, which is likely at least over the next few days, remaining between this support and this resistance, in that situation, of course, you could just have a grid bot trading strategy running that's automatically buying low, sell high during this sideways price range to create passive profits using a grid bot trading strategy. And so So those are very simple yet effective trading strategies to make money in this market right now. And of course, if you want to utilize any of those trading strategies, especially a grid bot, then definitely get set up ready to go using that first link below this video in the description or in the pinned comment. That first link will take you to this page right here over on the Pinex crypto exchange, where you can also take advantage of Bitcoin futures grid bots over here using essentially the exchange's money from a deposit bonus. And so for example, if you make your account using that link and deposit as little as $100, you get a $200 deposit bonus from the exchange into your account. If you deposit say $1,000, you get a $600 deposit bonus. If you deposit these much larger amounts, you can get up to 40,000 USDT as a deposit bonus. This is basically free money from the exchange, which you can then go ahead to actually use to fund one of these Bitcoin trades, the futures grid bots. And then of course, any profits that come out of those Bitcoin trades here, you can withdraw those profits. And if you lose the deposit bonus, you're losing the exchange's money, not even your money. So if you want to take advantage of this, once again, first link below this video. But if you want a no KYC crypto exchange that I also use for long positions and short positions, for that, check out the second link below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. That second link will take you to this page right here over on 2bit, where on top of this right here, which I'll talk about in just a moment, you can also take advantage of massive deposit bonuses that are only available using that link. But on top of that, you can see right here on this page that there's now trader protection and recovery funds if you're losing or getting liquidated in your trades right here. So as you can see right here, new users that are making an account for the first time during this event will receive 100% loss protection on your first futures trade, up to 200 USDT in trial funds. So basically you can get money back if you're getting liquidated. And if you get liquidated during this event over 50 USDT during this event that's running right now, then you may be eligible for recovery compensation up to 1,000 USDT, depending on your liquidation amount. And so once again, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, or getting set up ready to go to take the next trading opportunity, you might as well get set up ready to go using one of the links below this video to these exchanges if you want to take advantage of these major bonuses. And once again, 2bit is indeed a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, and right now we're actually starting to see a little bit more of a recovery in the Bitcoin dominance. We're now finally starting to see a regain in strength, which means Bitcoin will likely, at least slightly, be outperforming a lot of the major altcoins. As now, with that being said, I still expect very similar price action for a lot of the major altcoins on average compared to what Bitcoin is doing. So if Bitcoin has a bit of a rebound like this, of course, a lot of altcoins on average will likely perform a very similar price action. But keep in mind, while the Bitcoin dominance is now beginning a little bit more of a bounce in the short term, it means Bitcoin is holding up a bit better than what a lot of the altcoins are doing. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, right now the price of ETH is also very similar to Bitcoin on this daily time frame, bouncing around between support and a resistance. So right now we still have a lot of support at roughly 2.6k to 2.7k, and over the last one day we almost hit 2.7k, around $10 to $20 above that level, and then bounced from just above that major support. So we still have a lot of support starting at close to 2.7k. And as for resistance, obviously continue to expect a lot of resistance at around 3,040. So really in between 3,000 to 3.1k as a strong area of resistance to pay attention to. And if we're zooming further into the short term, taking a look at the 4-hour Ethereum price chart, we can see that with that latest drop over the last 1 to 2 days, we actually hit and confirmed an oversold signal in the 4-hour Ethereum RSI. And as usual, an oversold signal does not guarantee we've hit the bottom, but what it does mean is just in the short term, we've gone too far to the downside too quickly, and we need a bit of time, maybe over the next few days, maybe a week, but at least in the next couple of days, likely going to see a bit of a reset in the RSI. And we're already starting to see this in the form of most likely a bit of a bounce, or at worst, maybe some sideways price action. But basically a bit of a break from all of the bearish price action is quite likely in the immediate short term here. But just keep in mind, as we're playing out this oversold signal, seeing a little bit more of a bullish relief in the immediate short term, of course, we cannot ignore these major points of resistance like 3,000 to 3.1k, where the price will likely struggle at and possibly even see another rejection from. So keep that in mind. But for now, just over the next 1 or 2 days, we are most likely going to move closer towards that resistance and possibly see another retest of that resistance soon. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the 2-day time frame, it's a very similar situation for Solana, technically still within a much larger bearish trend, but in the shorter term, currently bouncing around relatively sideways between support and resistance. in a bit of a sideways price range. So obviously we still have a lot of support at around 124. Obviously that's pretty much exactly where the price bounced from, at pretty much exactly 124. So continue to expect a lot of support around there on the price chart. And as for resistance, continue to expect a lot of resistance in between around 143 to 147, which is pretty much exactly where the price rejected from at that latest rejection. And so honestly, there's not much else to say here for Solana. I do continue to expect the price to remain in this sideways price range at least for the next few days. And considering we've just completed the move down and the bounce from this support, it's likely we're now on another short-term move back up to potentially soon see another retest of this resistance, but still for now within a sideways price range in the shorter term. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the weekly time frame, technically speaking, we still have this massive bearish divergence to watch out for on the much larger time frames. This has not yet been invalidated. It is still influencing the price on the much larger time frames. Remember, this is not a short-term signal, but what is more of a shorter-term signal is, of course, that bullish divergence, which even despite this latest drop over the last 1 to 2 days, we've not yet actually technically invalidated this bullish divergence on the daily XRP price chart, because at least for now, we've not yet seen any breakdown in the price below this low, or any breakdown in the RSI below this low or below this line of support in RSI, which means technically speaking, this bullish divergence is still active on the daily XRP price chart, which means we could continue either some more choppy sideways price action like this, or potentially a little bit more of a bullish relief in the coming days, maybe over the next week. And obviously for now, we are holding on to this area of support in between roughly $2 to $2.05. So continue to expect a lot of support in that lower $2 area, especially around $2 as an important psychological level of support. And if we were to break back below around $2 in that situation, we have a bit more support at around just above $1.90, around $1.94, give or take, based on these candle closes at this low. But considering right now, a lot of the crypto market, as I've been saying throughout the video, and of course now the stock market, which has just opened as of recording this video, is now obviously having a slight bounce in the short term. While this is the case in traditional markets and the rest of the major crypto assets, of course, XRP will likely play out something similar. Of course, all of these markets are highly correlated, so we're likely going to see a little bit more of a rebound in the immediate short term for XRP. And as for resistance to watch out for, now that we are starting a bit of a short-term bounce, expect some resistance potentially around $2.15, and expect a lot of resistance in between roughly $2.30 to $2.40. And if we're taking a look at the daily Chainlink price chart, obviously right now we have formed and potentially about to confirm a new bullish divergence on the daily Chainlink price chart, because we have very slight lower lows, almost horizontal lows in the price in the candle closes, and higher lows now forming and almost confirmed in the daily Chainlink RSI. And so once again, that is a bullish divergence, which is very close to confirming potentially at this next candle close in roughly 9 hours from now. As I record in this video, we could potentially confirm this bullish divergence if we confirm this higher low in place in the RSI. And of course, if this confirms, which at this stage is looking likely, this is telling us we're likely going to see either a slight bullish relief or maybe a sideways consolidation in the next few days, most likely the next week, that sort of time frame. But remember, a bullish divergence by itself, kind of like an oversold signal, does not guarantee that we've hit the bottom and we're now reversing out of this larger bearish trend. Keep in mind, it's not always a reversal signal. For example, we did see a bullish divergence right here, and that was not a reversal signal out of the bearish trend, but it did give us a bit of a short-term bullish relief for the next week or so. And so once again, that's basically what this is telling us. Expect now a little bit more of a relief as a very likely scenario, especially of course if this actually confirms here. And as for support and resistance to watch out for, obviously we have a lot of support at roughly $12 and slightly below $12 as well, and a lot of resistance at around $13.40 to $13.50. More resistance at around $14.50, and major resistance in between $15.20 to $15.70. And so overall, those are my expectations and the key signals and key levels to watch out for the price of Chainlink and all of these other crypto assets I've discussed in this video. And of course, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, obviously check out the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim the massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can trade crypto, no matter what the price is doing, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.